Hello, friends. This is another episode of Empire of Lies, where we discuss manipulation and disinformation in the Russian media. Russian Evening in the Mirror of Propaganda, Solovyov and the Illusion of Power. Russian television evening shows have long ceased to be mere talk shows. They have become an arena where myths, ideology, and political mobilization intertwine. The latest episode of Evening with Vladimir Solovyov, broadcast on September 23, 2025, is a clear example of how Russian propaganda works, not only for its domestic audience, but also to create the image of a besieged fortress for the outside world. From the very first minutes, the program sets the tone. The world seems to be on the brink of World War III, while Russia, surrounded by enemies, holds its ground. It's noteworthy that Solovyov alternately threatens global catastrophe and then suddenly declares that there is no threat, everything is exaggerated. This contrast is a signature technique of Russian propaganda. She simultaneously keeps the viewer in a state of anxiety and instills a sense of confidence. We are stronger, we have everything under control. The economy as a battlefield. The episode centers on an economic paradox. On the one hand, Solovyov repeats the mantra about the destroyed Russian economy in Western media. On the other, he talks about a 30-fold increase in weapons production and thousands of troops in exercises. To domestic viewers, this sounds like a triumphant report. If the economy is destroyed, where will the new factories and equipment come from? But European listeners will easily spot the substitution. Comparing the Russian defense industry with the Western economy is to present militarization as the norm. In reality, this is merely an admission that Russia's resources are entirely devoted to war, not to social development. Solovyov calls the Western commitment to interest rates and inflation targets the heresy of an economic sect. But he fails to mention that in Russia itself, interest rates have been raised to record levels, stifling business and credit. This is a case where propaganda covers up its own failures by accusing others of heresy. Europe in a distorted mirror. Europe receives no less attention. Solovyov ridicules Estonia and its reports of Russian MiG incursions. Did they even happen? The narrative is clear. Small Estonia imagines threats, while powerful Russia controls everything. But behind this laughter lies the fact NATO takes these incidents extremely seriously, as they are a potential military conflict. Another story concerns the dark net, where supposedly all the Russians are hanging out, while the British are searching for spies. Here, ridicule becomes a tool for devaluing Western concerns. Supposedly, Russia has no problems, only the West's ridiculous fantasies. For domestic viewers, this creates the impression that the West is living in an absurd world, while Russia is an island of common sense. What has Trump done in international policy? Here's his statement. Did he take Panama? Nope. Did he take Greenland? As he stated, no. Canada didn't become the 51st state either. Now he's amassing forces near Venezuela. Incidentally, there's no aircraft carrier there either. But for Venezuela, and for Latin America in general, an aircraft carrier could be useful precisely in this region. Moreover, he's also alienated Colombia, the United States' most staunch ally. In the Western Hemisphere, he fell out with Lula da Silva, who was the only one with a trade surplus, specifically with Brazil. China, but what really if you look at it? Did he change the alliance? The most powerful alliance. From Soros to Satanists. The demonization of opponents deserves special attention. This time, the main targets are George Soros and European liberals. They are accused of supporting terrorism, organizing protests, and corrupting youth. The Satanist narrative takes this to the extreme. Any manifestation of dissent or Western culture is likened to the worship of evil. For European readers, this sounds blatantly archaic, like political shamanism. But within Russia, such discourse serves an important function. It explains social ills not by corruption and war, but by a conspiracy between Satan and Soros. Europe as enemy and victim. A key theme of the issue is Europe, which is itself leading the world to World War III. European elites are portrayed as irresponsible, ready to sacrifice Ukraine as cannon fodder. Thus, Russia is attempting to invert reality. It is the aggressor who portrays itself as the victim, and those who resist as provocateurs. For European society, this is a signal. Russian propaganda will continue to exploit the image of insane European elites to divide the European Union. After all, if the elites are leading to war, then their policies must be questioned by the Europeans themselves. This was the program Empire of Lies. See you soon.